I'm starting now. Hello. What is going on? I'm giving you a preview there. Okay, now we're ready to go. How is everyone doing? My name is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Monday night class of with me. Let's see. I come to you we get together every Monday night, and we usually draw. Let me get my camera all fixed up here. We draw a portrait on Wednesday nights. Scratch that. Let me start over. So this is Monday night, and on Monday nights we always draw something that has to do with a landscape or something that could be an interior shot, something on the outside. We take a look at, and on Wednesday night, our Wednesday night live class, we look at having to do with a portrait. So the way that we run this is hello Lynn, how are you? And Pamela, how are you? The way we do this is if you join our Facebook group, in the morning time, I put up 3 different images that you could vote on of which one you would like. And so tonight we all had this little haunted house had the most votes. So this is what we're going to draw tonight. Let's see what else. Pamela said, I'm in South Carolina. I think South Carolina time is Eastern time. Isn't that right, Pamela? She asked a question in our Eastern time. Aren't you like in the New York time zone being in South Carolina? Let me know on that. If you're looking for a great resource or a great group of people, I would recommend that you join our Facebook group. You could find a link in the description. If you would like to jump into a daily class, my favorite class that I teach is the daily draw. We get together a little bit every single morning and hit different subject matter. But tonight's class is, of course, it's on YouTube. It's a free class. And we always do the same thing on Monday nights and Wednesday night. I only ask you, if you don't mind, commenting on the video, give a thumbs up. And if you do draw a picture, post it. Post it on our Facebook group. It's always fun to see everyone's work, and we can comment and encourage you and all that great stuff. Okay. Oh, but I'm from Illinois. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're right, Pamela. It's like an hour difference. So let's see. What else? What else can I talk about before we get started here? All right, I can't think of anything on top of my head, but we're going to take a look at this haunted mansion, this haunted house here. But I do want to show you this book here. Y'all might wonder, I want to show you this book. This book is written by Andrew Loomis. You all know, many of you know Andrew Loomis because his method of drawing faces is probably the most common that you'll find on the internet. How to draw the human face the Andrew Loomis way. So this is a book that I have of his. It's called Creative Illustration. The whole book is dedicated to how to create an illustration, and he takes you step by step through the process. And it is an expensive book. It's an old book. It's out of print, but I have this in my library, and I want to show you something that I think that you will find very appropriate for tonight. Tonight, we're going to, as we draw this little house, I do want you to be aware of value. Okay, so I'm going to show you this page. I'm going to just kind of go like this so you can see. And on this page, you will notice 6 different value studies, all of the same subject matter. They all have to do with a barn and some trees. And you could see by the way that he's organized his values, it has a different effect on the picture. And I think next to understanding construction or how a drawing is drawn, understanding value and value organization is probably just as important of getting your construction down. It will save you immensely. Okay? So let me just read a couple lines from this book. It's only 4 lines here, but I want you to think about them. It can be taken as a second rule that the simpler the presentation of a subject, the better it will be pictorially. A simple presentation technically resolves itself into a few simple, organized areas of few values. So when you are drawing, whatever it is that you're drawing, I want you to always be aware of value. So I pre-drew this picture. Let me just kind of show you what's happening here, just to kind of give you an idea right before we get into it. And as I was looking at this picture, one of the things that entered my mind was, where is the darkest value? Where is the lightest value? And I started to break my page down into those different simple areas. I tried to come up with almost maybe three different values: a dark, a middle, and then the light. So as we draw this tonight, we're going to take the step where we're going to draw the construction. I'm going to show you how to draw a house in perspective. And then we're going to just kind of put values on our page, and then we'll go into detail. Okay, so I want you to be thinking of that, because organization of values will really help you fill in the gap, okay, when you're drawing. So I just want to show that to you, and if you have any questions, please just throw them in the chat and we will try and answer them, okay? So let's go ahead and let me talk about drawing a building, okay? And I have a simple process that I use every time when I'm drawing a building, whether I see it in a photograph or I'm actually visualizing it. And let me demonstrate that for you. So if I was to see this building, I always look for the corners of the building. I try and simplify it. All right, that's the first thing I look for, is where are the three corners. After I have established the three corners, then I look for where are they coming in contact with the roof. You see that? That's my next step. And I could also say, where are they coming in contact with the ground? So that's what I'm looking for in my mind's eye. Once I've established that, then I can start to break down the house and start creating a perspective grid and getting all that stuff. Start creating a perspective grid that helps give me guidance as I go along, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at this and see how we do, all right? All right, so first thing I'm going to do, and before we go any further, the other thing I want to point out, let me just fix this here for a second. The other thing I want to point out to you is, when you're drawing these pictures, I would recommend that you keep your picture to about a 5x7, or you keep it maybe a 5x7 or a 8x5, something in that range, okay? So don't go so big. If you go super big, especially within an hour, it's hard to keep up. All right, so in these hour drawing lessons, just keep it small. You'll find a lot more success. And then if you like what you drew, then you could draw it again, but do it much bigger, because you'll have more time to do it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this now. So first thing I'm going to do is, of course, start with a framework here. And then I'm going to draw my ground plane where I see the ground, so I have ground separation between where the ground is and where the sky is. Hey Sharon, how are you? And John is in. Hello, my friend. So here, as you notice right away, I'm making sure that this is not even. I want either the ground to be more than the sky or one or the other. I don't want to make these things perfectly even, because that creates contrast of shape. You see that? Okay, let's go ahead and just kind of rough in. I'm just going to kind of draw very lightly a square that's kind of sort of rough in, sort of suggests where my house is going to fall right now. It's kind of a light gesture. One thing when I'm putting the square in to help me as far as the gesture goes, I'm kind of looking at this shape, this negative shape here. What's the size of that shape right there? And then what is the size of this shape? You see, and if I am mindful of those two shapes, I will get my house in a nice position within this cube here, within my square. Okay, let's go ahead and start with that first corner that's closest to us there. I'm just going to put it straight in. I don't know where it hits the ground or how high up it goes. And then I'm going to do another one to be the side of my house. And another one on this far side here. Okay, I'm going to look for this point and this point, okay? So, these are random, but now that I have those 2 points in, I know exactly the height of my lower part of my house. All right, let's put that back in, and this is going to go back toward the vanishing point there. Okay. This is going to be just slightly lower. And then this is going to come across like this. Okay. And if I go too fast, just please throw a little comment to asking to slow down. I will happily slow down, okay? Let's put a very light X in this front section here. This is going to help us tell us where the middle of this house is. And then let's kind of establish where let's just break that in half maybe. And we'll break this in half as well. And then this back side will find the half of this line. And that will give us our very basic perspective grid of where the sides and paneling of this house are going to fall. At this point, I'm not worried about the overhang, okay? What I mean by overhang is, I mean like this section of the roof. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just going to freehand that. But right now, I'm just interested in getting the general basic shape. This is gonna head back to that vanishing point as well. I can see that we have this side of the house, and I'm just starting to build this up. We're going to have a side coming on the other side, on the other part of the roof right there. You see that? And at this point, I'm just almost layering shapes is all I'm doing, okay? Layering shapes. All right, this front window. Just gonna kind of indicate that with a triangle. And then now I'm going to put this overhang in, and it's just going to just keep it simple here. I have just enough structure to make the drawing believable, and that's all I really want. All right, let's get some more detail down here. So we have this other overhang down here. Going to overhang there as well. This has a very strong triangle. We'll come back and put some value and all that very shortly. Okay. I'm guessing that this section of the house kind of stands out from the rest. And then I'm going to put these windows in. I'm going to kind of make them small. And then we have a little window on the side here. You see this? A couple other little windows. I'm going to make this window round. I just think that's kind of, I don't know, just kind of interesting to me. Oh. Looks like it has a front door here. And some type of trellis. How do you do the overhang? Great question. So, great question. So let me see here. Let me come up here real quick. So Pamela, if I make a cube, okay, there's my cube, just like that, okay? All I'm going to do is, because I don't have to, this doesn't have to be an architectural drawing. It's just supposed to, I could get away with, it doesn't have to be perfectly going to perspective. So all I'm going to do is just create another line right like this. And there's my overhang. I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. You see? That's how I would do that overhang. And then just extend my roof out to the edges, just something like that. I'm more interested in the idea per se. I hope that helps you a bit. Plus, when we add the value, it's going to, we can almost create that overhang just by doing a little bit of value under there. Okay, I'm going to move on to the tree now. And before you drop your tree, let me point something out to you that's pretty important here. Now, look at the negative shape. So here we have our house, okay? All right, there's the shape of our house. But look, this tree is shifted. You see that? The peak of this tree is to this side of the page. All right, so when you draw the tree, make sure your mind is going to want to draw it exactly on top of the house. You want to shift it to the right. That's what you're aiming for. All right, so let's make sure that we do that. And what did I just do here? Did I? Yeah. All right, I'm good. So I'm going to come over here. There. That looks pretty interesting to me. And then I'm just going to taper that. I'm not going to worry about trying to draw this trunk yet. I'm just looking for a line that's going to taper on in. And all I'm doing right here is just kind of gesturing where I think this branch is going to go without giving it a lot of detail. There's another little gesture on the left to get that tree over there as well. And then left the right side of this house, we also have a bunch of tree branches. We're going to come in and get those into detail as well in just a minute. Okay, let's put some value in now. Let's put some value in our picture. Don't get into the detail yet. We're just going to look at the value. So when I look at a picture, first thing I ask myself is where is the lightest light and where is the darkest dark? Okay, so the lightest light, of course, is the sky, and the darkest dark is going to be that tree. All right, so we want to make sure that we keep the sky the color of our paper. And then, of course, the darkest dark, we want that to be in the trunk of that tree. All right, so if that's the case, then I know this whole bottom area has got to have some value. Because I don't want my grass to compete with that sky. All right, now I can move on to my house, and I can immediately see that my house is going to be darker value overall than my ground. And I'm going to leave my windows because they're reflecting some of that bright light. And I could come back. I'm going to come back and darken this up here, but we'll just use this for our first pass, okay? All right, now I notice that my branch is a darker value. And I can even see that all of this up here, this is creating a little bit of a value as well. Continue to squint my eyes and realize that this has a dark value. And then I could kind of look at this drawing, this picture photograph here, and see that the edges of this kind of wheat field also has some different tone or value. And we're gonna go back in and darken things up, but this is our first pass of value. All right, our first pass. Okay, let's go into our next round here. Now I'm looking at the value that's in the tree coming across the top, and that value is almost equal as the side of the house. Do you see that? So let's make sure, let's drop a darker value in the side of the house here. Same thing with this overhang, and the only thing we're avoiding here is these windows. We'll come back and throw some quick little detail there. All right, look at that shadow now. Look at the shadow coming down from this overhang here. So that's almost the same value of the side of the house. So let's get that in as well. And now look at that window. The window has two different values. So let's make sure the top of the window is slightly darker than the bottom part. Okay. This triangle is recessed, and it also has that dark value. We have some shadow over here as well. And the side of this is also dark value. Okay. Next thing, let's continue to work on the house here. And I could see the wood paneling. The wood paneling is darker than the roof. So I'm just going to add some a little bit tone here different, but also add these lines that will describe the wood paneling and the texture. Same thing down here. Get this little corner over here. I'm going to add a little more value to the roof here. All right. Okay, I think it's time to start bringing in some other elements here. Let's start working on this tree trunk here now. It's really just a giant silhouette. So let's just slowly build that up. Keep checking that negative space. All right, looks like we have another trunk coming in up here. Now don't rush this. Take your time by adding these branches. I know there's a lot of them, but if you look for the thicker ones first, Just really think through them. Key is not to rush. Not to rush the details. You almost have to concentrate. If you go too fast, yeah, brain starts organizing everything. You're trying to look for variation. Okay, I'm going to move down to the bottom and start thinking about some of this wheat. And it looks like the wheat is all kind of going in this direction. Smaller in the back versus bigger and more defined up front. This right side looks like there's a road or this wheat is laying down. So I definitely want to use that idea. Keep adding value and texture. Squinting my eyes and just keep adding more of this grass texture and thinking about surface lines. This looks like a tree is right here, actually. On Thursday, we're starting a new class, 10 Terrific Trees. And look how the value behind this tree. This is all very dark. By adding dark value, you don't have to put all those branches in. You can, it just kind of gives a suggestion that there's a lot of branches back there. One thing when you're putting in these grasses, make sure you're not making sure that they're not evenly distributed. You want to try and create variation. I'm adding the cross sections in my windows here. Well, this has turned out nice and spooky, wouldn't you say? All right, I think I'm almost done with this. How's everyone else is doing? One thing I liked was, it had these wires I noticed. So I don't know. There's something about those lines, the wires going through the telephone wires, or something that kind of adds something to it. I like the contrast those straight lines are creating. That might be like a weather vane or something. Other nice little thing I like to add sometimes to my drawing are just some like dots. That sounds so weird, but it is. They create some variation. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight. So there's our spooky house with our haunted tree. I do appreciate you guys watching. Please do comment, give a thumbs up to the video, and then make sure you post your work in our Facebook group. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and I will see you guys later. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.